Yeah. You guys already know what time it is. Today is Tuesday. Yes, it's the Motivational Mindset Show, baby. And right here next to me, I have my special guest, Holton, and he'll be playing something nice for you later on this sexy saxophone. But baby, first we gotta give honor to God who's ahead of my life, and I hope he's ahead of yours. I'd like to say thank you to the Apollo Media, Buffalo State College. You can check us out on WBNY 91.3 FM. I will have Zoom up and running for my live audience, so you guys stay tuned for that. This show was brought to you by the Apollo Media Art Center and WBNY 91.3 Buffalo State College, original alternative since 1982, brought to you by the Student Activity Fee. I'd like to say thank you guys for believing in the show. You already know what I do. I am your host and the creator of the Motivational Mindset, your girl, Trueletta. Y'all know I don't know how to sing, so don't you judge me. Yes, I am your host and the creator of this conversational podcast. Used to be, but now it's a television show. So let's thank God for that. I'm a recent graduate from Buffalo State College with a bachelor's with marketing and management. I also act. I'm a poet. I'm a motivational speaker, model, actress, author on the rise. You got it. I am God's wild card. And today, we got a show for you today, baby. We got a show. But before we get into our show, baby, you know my number one thing is quotes. So today's quote is, refuel your spirit daily to recycle out negative energy. Let me say that to you again a little slower. Refuel your spirit daily to recycle out negative energy, baby. We don't want no negative energy, baby. So this will be a nice special hour show. I want y'all to relax. We don't want y'all to get too tensed up. I'm always serious, but today I'm not going to be too serious. I want to be a little fun, but serious at the same time. We're talking actually today about music therapy. Yes, you can take music therapy, aqua therapy, you can even take food therapy, and that's Saturday's show. But today, I'm going to break it down for how you take music therapy, how you utilize the tool of music to make you complete and a whole person again. So before we get into it, let me tell you what the topic is for today. How can we heal from emotional trauma? What is emotional trauma? And does this music therapy helps with emotional trauma, and why? And lastly, what are some important steps in repairing your emotional trauma? We all face it. We all go through it, all ages. So listen, baby, if you got some problems, you're going through some emotional trauma, you got something that's deep down inside and buried, I'm going to help you get it out today. And that's right through music, because music triggers your cognitive thinking. Music triggers your emotional feelings, physical feelings. Music can take you or break you. But today, we want to give you tools to make you, not break you. We don't want to break you, baby. We don't want to break you. So, first and foremost, I'm going to get to it. What is music therapy? So, from the Association of Music Therapy, their theory of music therapy is it's a clinical evidence-based use music intervention to accomplish individualized goals within therapeutic relationships and professional relationships. That's what I took from that. So through your professional relationships, through your therapeutic relationships, through your personal relationships, this therapy helps you, baby. It helps you a lot. So Google had a little different thing to say when I was doing my research on it. Google said, for you to understand like music therapy, that it's a useful tool, but it has a downside. You can lose your hearing. I think that's the only downside that I found on Google. It's the first thing it said to me. But you only get loss of hearing when you have your headphones on too loud, or if you got the music too loud, or if you're trying to zone out the world and put yourself on a different planet, baby. Don't lose yourself. Choose yourself. So let me tell you right now, I don't want you to lose yourself in music therapy. I want you to choose yourself through music therapy, baby. So the goals and objectives of taking music therapy, it's overreaching your goals and of music therapy is to achieve objectives that meets needs. So let me say that again. The overreaching goal of music therapy is to achieve the objectives that meets the needs of the individual. That includes, for example, improving your motor functions, social skills, emotional skills, your coordination, self-expression, and personal growth. That's my big one. I love personal growth. So personally, baby, we got to be growing. I like to say thank you to all my Facebook viewers. You guys can view this on Tuesday at 11 o'clock next week, and you can view it again on Friday from 6 to 7. So tune in on channel 1302 Spectrum Television. Now, Will, I'm going to bring you in a little bit because you specialize in talking to the youth about peer pressure and bullying.
Yeah.
Do you utilize music therapy when you're speaking with the children?
Well, music is that's my first medium to connect. So I never wanted to date myself, and when I mean that musically,
Okay.
like you get some people who their calling card is they just play traditional jazz.
Yes.
You're not gonna be able to relate to the kids.
Right.
So like my music, the music that I play, even before they hear me talk, I might play something by Chris Brown or Justin Bieber or Robin Thicke or Flo Rida or something like that can relate, because that's the thing. If you can't relate, you're not going to be able to have a conversation.
Correct.
And then once we get beyond that, they look at the instrument. Y'all think this is beautiful. I mean, I shaved the bell of the horn. I shaved the brass down because I want it to be. I want it to be brass. I don't want it to be black nickel. But anyway, So they're attracted to the instrument, and then like when I come and talk to the kids, I dress appropriate. I always tell my band members and singers who I worked with, you got to know your audience.
Correct.
We're talking about, between K through 4 and 5 through 8 or 9 through 12, there's different audiences that, the 10-year-olds are between 11 and 13, a little more like they're in their cool phase.
Yes.
So it's kind of a little different, but like 10 and down, you can reach them very easily. It's easy. The high schoolers are kind of like in their own zone, but they receive it too. So that's basically how I started off with music, and we started getting about what they want to do. How they're being treated. Sometimes we talk too much.
Right.
You have to listen.
Right.
Silence is great.
Of that. So
silence is like it's not a deaf ear; it's a concerned ear.
Okay.
And when I talk about also is consent. Consent, the ability to have permission to have a conversation, because sometimes a kid or a teenager or a young adult, they don't give you consent. You got to earn the consent.
That's true.
So, there's a lot of different things, even before we can get talking about, and this all happens very quickly. When you come in a room and they see, okay, he's got, Chuck Taylor's on, he's got nice jeans on, he's got a nice shirt.
So they're sizing you up already before you come in.
I got I love wearing novelty t-shirts or, whatever, whether it be Deadpool or Marvel or DC or something, that I like, the stuff I like that they're relating to now, because vintage has its way in the trending culture.
Yes, it does.
So, we're relating even before words are exchanged.
Yeah.
And then I try to take care of myself so they don't think I'm 40, I normally don't have as much beard. If I take this beard off, I lose about 5 years.
Okay.
So, so anyway, they look at the whole thing.
You look good.
Thank you. They look at the whole thing. They look at the whole thing. The kids, they look at the whole thing even before, and then they give you consent. And now we can talk about, what's going on in your life. We set up, we say achievable goals at some particular point, different things like that. And I've been doing it since 2010. My aunt Joyce Wilson Nixon, she helped me start this Reach Out and Lift Up campaign back then. And we've done different things at the Colored Musicians Club, to me being at Global Concepts Charter School for like their annual career day, to my friend Charles Clark. He's one of the persons who was involved with that. And then, different schools I go to, period, so I'm telling you, the main thing is you got to be able to, in a very short period of time, be able to connect, relate, and then after that, it's about the consent.
Okay. Well,
because that's it. You know, after that, it's easy. The music is going to do what it do. You know,
right.
they're gonna listen. Oh my gosh, that's cool. You know. So this is gonna do what it does.
Right. So once you connect, right?
Yeah.
I know some common goals in music therapy is communication skills.
Yeah.
And that's like using verbally, non-verbally gestures, as you were saying. I walk in, they're looking at me. I'm already communicating with them without them knowing.
Yeah.
So that was a big one. Social skills, making eye contact, taking turns, initiating interaction,
Right.
not talking as much. So I think that's an important one. And self-esteem.
Oh yeah.
So you come in confident. The kids know you're confident. They see you. They can feel your aura,
Right.
and it makes it easier for them to connect with you, even through sensory skills.
Yeah.
You know, touching, listening, and levels of awareness. So I think that's pretty dope that you take a level of awareness before you enter the classroom or enter that room with those students to say, okay, I know what I wear is going to make a difference.
Yeah.
I know the way I present myself is going to make a difference.
Absolutely.
The way me and my staff come in makes a difference. So I really appreciate that about you. Another good note that music therapy does is cognitive skills. So if cognitive skills is like concentrating your attention sequence to be knowing that what you're doing. I know I do a lot sometimes, so I listen to music. I listen to country music, y'all. Don't judge me, but it takes me to a calm place. Then I'll be like, okay, I can refocus myself and say, okay, now I know what to do. You know, versus me listening to Meek Mills. I love you, Meek Mills, but when I listen to Meek Mills, I need a party. I'm writing. You know, I'm feeling energetic. That music makes me energetic.
Right.
The music that you need to kind of calm you, I don't know, I like country music, R&B music, you know, jazz. My dad was big on jazz, so that's why it was a pleasure to have you here today.
Yeah,
You know,
I
he was
appreciate that.
big on jazz. And emotional skills. A lot of us suffer emotionally, and that's our topic today, emotional trauma. So our emotional skills, the way we're expressing ourselves, our nonverbal expressing. I think I talked about it on a few shows when people don't know that their actions are being spoken through their facial expressions. So I can say, I'm fine, or it doesn't bother me. But at the same time, my facial expressions is showing something different.
Right.
So that's how you identify with some of your students when you come into the class. Like some students are more needier than others. Not saying they're needy, saying that they might want a little more attention than the student that has the attention at home.
Yeah.
So do you get that a lot?
You know, I would say this. I have more consistent contact when I was actually at a residency for a couple of years teaching photography at McKinley, and my best friend, she's a creative print teacher at McKinley, and at the time Principal Barton loved what I was doing, and I was there from fall to Christmas, like end of September, beginning of October, all the way to Christmas break, with one set of kids, 9th and 10th graders, you know, 14, 15-year-olds, about 14 kids.
Okay.
And I taught every day, unless I couldn't come in, 90 minutes.
Oh.
And, you know, the same thing for winter, right after February break, all the way to about Memorial Day. With those group of kids, it was two separate groups of kids. I can, without it being forced.
Okay.
Those kids, they see that I'm dedicated and I'm excited, and I don't take any, you know, I'm not taking no, you know,
Right.
I'm not taking it lightly. Me being there, they know I'm volunteering my time. And some kids, you know, unfortunately still feel like, oh, whatever, but I didn't have that problem. The kids I had, it was a majority. It was Latinos, it was African American, there was a couple Caucasian kids, and I think maybe one Indonesian or Indian kid. And in another class,
diverse group.
another one, I had one African guy. He was really cool. You know, and African American, white, Latino. So anyway, the whole point I'm trying to say is that those 14 to 15, I can gauge at least about 8 of those kids really was all into it, and about 4 of them were super into it. And what I do, I made it interesting. I had a portrait contest, and I was teaching photography from the basics, from the exposure triangle to framing to the grid to what we call composition, things like that, and break it down. And I love my dry erase board. I had a humongo dry erase board in the classroom, and I brought all my stuff in from the gate. Again, the impression I have on my table, my Phantom 4 Pro drone. I have my stabilizers. I have 3 Sony cameras, or 2 Samsung cameras at the time. Excuse me, the other one was a Sony, but 2 Samsung cameras and my lenses. I had a beauty dish. I had a softbox. I had different modifiers, light stands, consistent light like we got right here. Had all of that right there. They come in the classroom, the lights come on. They see everything. They're like, what's going on? So from day one,
it's how you
I got
present
you.
it.
I got you. And
it's
then,
the hook.
Yeah, I got you. And they're like, well, what are we doing? And I'm like, well, hey, everybody, I'm Will Holton. You can call me Mr. Will. I'm going to be teaching photography, and this is a part of your grade. This isn't chill time.
Right.
And I said, I got incentives for y'all. So I gave away, towards the end, we had a portrait contest, a still life contest, and we also had natural light photography versus me adding a couple strobes, flashing strobes. So I gave away Visa gift cards. I gave away, I bought a camera from KEH, point and shoot camera for the kid, and I gave stuff away and they loved it. It was like I said, their incentive, the money or the camera, that didn't come until towards the end of the class. They didn't even know. But, I have a curriculum, I have paperwork, and I make it simple.
That's great.
Make it simple enough that it's not too intimidating. Because the thing, we live in an instant society.
Correct.
We want quick results, it's quick without doing a lot of work.
Right. No.
So, that's what I'm saying. So I haven't really had that problem of a kid not wanting to be interested. There was this one kid, his name was Daniel, he was a Caucasian kid. He was just like a real chill, quiet, but I would get him to answer questions. And if he didn't get it right, don't worry, try again, man. You're good.
Right.
And I keep going back to him, and he started lightening up and becoming more involved. I was looking at pictures on my computer yesterday from archives from 2017. I'm looking at moments in the class and the kids shooting at a stuffed animal. I had my drone. I had different things on a black table with a black backdrop. So, you make it the impression from day one, and then your consistency has a reward that they're going to see the reward of the consistency. And that's basically it. I don't, with music, that's a whole nother thing.
Correct.
It's a whole nother thing. But like with anything that I'm able to be in your face consistently and be around you, we're going to grow together. And that's the main thing. You're going to see change in yourself, personality that maybe you were tight-lipped.
Right.
Now you start opening up.
Right. And I think that's great to have relaxation and for them to get pleasure out of it.
Yeah.
And so music therapy should be, photography is something that I know you're good at as well. We're going to get to that later in the show, y'all, when I interview him with his interview questions. But music therapy should be something that if you can get a connection like that with a group of students, just imagine the impact you'll get from music therapy and those benefits that the youth or people in general. You ain't just got to do kids, you can do adults, because us adults, we need hugs and stuff as well. But we'll be right back after this short break. You guys stay tuned to the Motivational Mindset Show, and we'll be right back after this commercial.
I welcome you, friends. It's time for great music, conversation, and positive vibes. This is The Sesh with Tony Payne Jr., Brandon Sherman Josie, Cal Palmer, and yours truly, Will Holton. This is The Sesh, right here on Facebook.
All right. If you just now tuned in, you are tuned in to the Motivational Mindset Television Conversational Show. I have this king in the building, Will Holton. And yes, we're talking about emotional trauma, music therapy. We're talking about photography and some of the great things that he do. If you just now tuning in, I am your girl, Truletta, host and creator of the Motivational Mindset Show. You know my quote for today. My quote for today is, refuel your spirit daily to recycle out negative energy. So make sure you refuel yourself daily to recycle out negative energy. So let's jump right back into topic and talk about some goals and objectives for music therapy, because that's what we're talking about, music therapy. Nope, not that. Okay, y'all. So we are talking about music therapy. So before I get back into the benefits, I told you the only downside in music therapy is hearing loss. And that's from you zoning out, going into a whole nother place, losing yourself. People tend to lose their hearing. But I'm going to tell you, baby, don't lose yourself in no trauma. You bring yourself back, baby. Bring yourself back. Never lose touch with yourself. But the benefits of music therapy is mental health needs. If you have a mental health issue, it helps with mental health. It helps with developmental learning disabilities as well. Alzheimer's. Yes, it helps with Alzheimer's, aging, and related conditions. So, I mean, if you're a person like me, I lost my memory in 2008. I had to regain my whole self back, baby. Music brought me back to life. Music did this for me, and I love music because I am music. Brain injuries, physical disabilities, and chronic pain, and even going in labor. So if you going in labor, if you having babies, guess what, y'all? Play you some music. You're going to feel good about yourself. So before we go right into it, I want to ask you some questions. So I'm going to pull this out because you was answering some of the questions that I wanted to ask you or whatnot. So, Mr. Holton, tell them where you from.
I'm from Buffalo, New York. Born on the east
Buffalo
side.
kids.
Was born Woodward Avenue, then moved over, I believe, to Goodyear and Broadway in 1983.
Oh, okay.
And I left there and moved on to the east side, Delavan area from 87 all the way to current. So, yeah.
That's super dope. Now, how long you been doing music?
Since I was 18.
18. Ooh, that's a long time.
Now it is.
Yeah, but that's nothing. That's nothing. We young.
I mean, a lot of my people, they were doing music 11, 10, 11, 12, 9 years old, and I started.
Wow.
I started when it was the proper time. And the question that I normally get is, why music and why the saxophone? And I always give the same answer. From the Buffalo News to every TV station, is that I was under a good covering. I was at Greater Refuge Temple,
oh, wow.
Bishop Sanders, and I was trying to sing in a choir at the time, 14, 15, 16, 17, and I remember God telling me saxophone, and I told my dad about it. My dad went and bought me my first soprano sax. It was from McCullen's Music House. Ray Bennett and Laurie Bennett at the time, they were over on Franklin Street, and he bought me an Imperial soprano, which is a straight one, the one that everybody knows that Kenny G plays. But there's so many.
I love Kenny G.
Yeah, he's a great guy. But there's so many other players that have made that instrument famous soprano wise. My favorite thing is John Coltrane.
Oh, okay.
So, but anyway. So that's basically that. I'm 18 years old. I went to Villa Maria College for jazz performance, and I didn't graduate. My loan got Y2K lost, and they started charging me for class.
Oh, wow.
So, and it's a private college, and it was like $13,000 for 1 year, and my mom helped me out big time.
Yeah, I went there for a semester. They're very expensive.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
At the time, they didn't really have the best administration as far as financial office and yada, yada, yada. They were kind of just getting it together. But I had one of the best professors for my jazz band who gave me opportunities. It was Jim Kursdorfer, who was the original bass player for Spyro Gyra, which is a big jazz band that Tommy Schumann was the keyboard player. He's from Williamsville, Grammy Award-winning jazz group. But Mr. Jim Kursdorfer was the first bass player, and I was in his band. I started there and I didn't have the education behind the music, so I had to start off with Theory 099, which is fundamental. Where they cover solfege, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Doing the scatting, solfege, and then also learning the circle of fifths, the circle of fourths, major and minor scales,
different type of octaves, heavy singing. No, I didn't know how to sing.
All that stuff, and so I wouldn't get to Mr. Kurzdorfer until Theory 104, which was towards my graduation point.
Okay.
And so like I said, I didn't finish. So I got into printing. My sister got me a job into printing at Kinko's. Yeah, when I was 18, and I was working there full time. So when I went to Villa Maria, I just went from full time down to part time at Kinko's and kept my job, and that kind of got me around the media stuff, and that was basically that. So, and then when I left college, I had to go to school full time, because you don't work, you don't eat. I had a car, I had my own car insurance. A lot of these young people, they don't know about that. They be on their mom and daddy's car insurance when they 28 years, 27
baby,
years old.
That's another show, baby. We gonna talk about that. That's a whole nother show. Yeah. So you said you heard God tell you. Saxophone.
Yeah.
See, a lot of people don't hear that Holy Spirit. Not a lot of people don't get their calling until it's late, and I think that's a beautiful thing. So what inspired you to start writing?
Getting fired from a band inspired me to write, and it was being fired in a nice way, because he's my mentor, Van Taylor from Taylor Made Jazz.
Okay.
Van is over the USO troupe touring for this area, where he's taken many of Buffalo's Hall of Famers to non-Hall of Famers before they got in the Hall of Fame, to 30 different countries, 4 different continents, over the past 30 years he's been doing that. And I haven't had my opportunity to go, but he talks to me all the time. I got your passport information. When I do the next one, we'll go. So basically, I went out for the Universal Circus Pop and Soul 2004. I was referred to play in their horn section. I didn't know they had a live band. This is when they came here in Buffalo in 2004, and Reggie Moore, who's a friend of Reggie Dumas. Reggie Moore was a drummer for Jodeci. Okay. He had referred me to a guy named Keith Rawls, and Keith Rawls called me. He says, "Hey, I got a Universal Circus. We're coming to town. Need a sax player to sit in." I'm thinking, okay, what kind of music? Oh, old school R&B, funk, yada yada yada. So okay, great. Some Outkast, yada yada yada. Come there, I see full band. I'm saying my man Chris Johnson on drums, who drums for NDRE. I'm seeing Vic Smiley, guitar player from Ohio. Keith Rawls, who played for Peebo Bryson. Mike Burton, who plays for Jill Scott. Lee Hogan's, who played for Diddy Dirty Money, and Marcus Miller on trumpet. And Jimmy Brown, who is the father of Sleepy Brown from Outkast, who is the co-founder of Brick. So I come in.
Hey y'all.
I come in the curtain. I'm like, yo, and they're playing the Gap Band. They're playing "Shake" by the Gap Band. I'm like, oh, this is my song. So anyway, I did good here in Buffalo. They asked me to go out on the road.
Okay.
Before, when I went on the road, Van Taylor came up to one of the 6 shows. He says, "Sir," he says, "when you come back in town, I want to talk to you. My name's Van Taylor." So then I talked to Van, and then I started playing in his band when I got back. And then he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, which is doing original music. And also my brother-in-law, he said, "Man, Will, your live stuff, you're the man live, but you got to become a recording artist." So between my brother-in-law and Van said to me after a gig, "Hey, Will, when you want to do originals, call me." And I was basically saying, "Goodbye, you got to go. You're fired."
Oh, wow.
So when you want to do originals, call me. Meaning I'm not gonna call you for no more gigs because I was emulating the people that I liked in saxophone, but I didn't. But he saw my own identity in me.
That was so dope.
So so that basically what happened. And in 2007, I had a roommate, Walter Bunt May from Hartford, Connecticut. He was living with me, and he didn't have the rent, but he was a heck of a producer. So he produced my first single, which is the one I played on the broadcast. So it's called Always, and from there, I just kind of boom, 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 and then, a lot of great things happened, but it was all in purpose by design by God. So it's so much.
There's no failure. I believe this. It's always divine intervention. There's no failure. It's stopping post. to remind you where your destiny and where you're destined to be.
Yeah.
So he did you a favor.
Oh, absolutely.
All he did was say, you know what, you're stagnant in this place. So let me move you a little bit. Because when we get stuck, we get stagnant in the places that we in.
Yeah.
So King, I know you were telling me that you do photography. Tell me a little more about that. This is a man of many talents.
That is something that I teach. I teach media. So,
Where do you teach at?
well, I was teaching down at the Main Street Art Gallery. Miss Ladina Clyburn is like a second mom to me.
Okay.
I was teaching down there. I had a class of like 6 students at the time, and we meet every Monday. And then now I'll be teaching at Delaware Camera. I'll be teaching stabilizer classes and stuff like that. You know, the different products. Zayun Crane has a stabilizer. Ronin from DJI, they have a stabilizer, and then the different ones in between, the larger models versus the smaller models, etc., etc.
Sounds great. Sound like Spanish to me because I don't do photography.
Not stabilizers. It's what you know when you see somebody walking around and they have a holder in their hand,
okay,
and the phone is weighted, and it's kind of like it's just going smooth along with them.
Oh, okay.
Not a selfie stick, but like
right.
a stabilizer, so when they walk, it's smooth.
All right.
That's a stabilizer.
See? Look, I learned something to you. I know I learned what a stabilizer is.
If I can't get you to learn that, I can get you to learn anything.
Okay, I got that.
But,
I won't forget that.
Yeah, so, you know, I had one person that helped me in my photo walk, and I learned a lot of lessons by people telling me no, and by people saying, you know, no, I'm out, or now you go to your Facebook Messenger and they read the message and don't respond.
Yes.
I asked a few people, can I just be your assistant? Can I learn from you? And I'm not gonna say no names, but
please.
So they're prominent people in the business around here, and they're all African American, and they never helped me.
But you know
what? One guy, and that's why I don't even worry about the ones who didn't.
Right.
There was one guy, and I was teaching his son sax. That's like my only sax student. And I taught my nephews, and they stopped playing because they saw it wasn't easy. But this one young man, he's like a little brother to me, Micah Powell, and his dad is Boney Powell, and Boney is one of the most known photographers around here. He's been
I heard about him.
Yeah, Boney was like, this is back in 2012 November, and we're getting ready to go play in St. Thomas with Najee, Mesa, and Alex Bunyoung. And so I said, Boney, I want to do photography, but I want to do it just because I don't want to have to call nobody to shoot me. I want to be able to like get a remote and do it myself. And he was like, here. And they gave me a napkin. And on the napkin was the exposure triangle. See,
wow.
Boney is what I aspired to be every time I do a photo shoot. Not just to spray and pray. Meaning that go and hope you get the shot.
Right.
I'm talking about framing up the shot nice, making sure you're exposing for the highlights. Like if we're my favorite thing to shoot is the beach, like a couple or a girl or whatever. What's the most massive thing on the beach?
I don't mean to stop you, but we'll be right back after this break, and we're gonna dive into what's the most massive
thing on the beach.
So we'll be right back after this break. Back, tune in to the Motivational Mindset Show. I got my special guest on the show with me, Will Holton, in the building.
Yeah. And
we got a dope topic today. We're talking about emotional trauma, and we're talking about how do we repair and fix this trauma through music therapy, and we're touching on his other skill, photography. So we're going to dive right back in it, and he was telling me what's the most massive thing on the beach, and I would say the ocean?
Mm-mm.
No, the sand.
Mm-mm.
Okay, I'm gone. So I'm gonna let him. Explain that to us.
All right. So one of the things that being that I learned a more technical way. Some people are self-taught photographers, and that's great. Some people shoot in auto. I don't frown on that. But all my students, they learn manual. Mm-hmm. Okay, manual, ISO, which controls added light or subtracting light. ISO stands for International Standards Organization. Nobody even knows that. They just. Okay. But I like to know when I'm teaching. And someone says, "What's ISO?" International Standards Organization. Basically, it's adding light in a dark situation. But if you add more ISO, you add possible noise grain or pixelation in your photos.
Oh, okay.
You can take it off. Keeping the ISO really low keeps the photos real clean. There's no pixelation, red, green, blue little pixels in the photo. So anyway, Volney gave me this napkin. He said, if you get to learn this, if you can learn this, you'll be on your way to photography. He's the only one that ever gave me anything. And I always mention him because that, to me, means so much. And then he would let me borrow, if I needed to borrow a portable power supply, this Bumblebee, like a AC power joint, with an electric outlet on it, yes. For so I could learn how to shoot with a flash and a softbox outdoors. Like he was there for me in a bunch of regards. So anyway, the most massive thing on the beach,
yes,
as far as highlights.
Oh, okay.
And then what are highlights? Things that are bright.
Right.
The sky.
Oh.
So
he got me on that. You got that one.
Right. So when we don't expose for the sky and you expose for your person, your sky is going to be white.
Wow.
Rather than your sky being blue with white clouds. Let the clouds tell the story. That's what I always say. You're going to miss out on them ambers, those cumulus clouds or those stratus clouds, yes, or those nimbus clouds, whatever. I shoot at the beach all the time. I love it. Then also there's things called long exposures. Long exposures are how many seconds or how many hundredths of a second or how many 50th, 60th, whatever of a second before the shutter clicks, before it goes click. All right. So, do you want your water to look like a nice one stream of water? So then now you need a tripod and a remote so you can set it for 4 seconds. So whatever happens in 4 seconds, it's going to go one, hit the button on the remote. So if the waves are going like this, it's going to look real soupy and real nice. Oh. But then the other one is like when I have a person jump out of the water, like I do a lot of those. You want to shoot at a high shutter speed so you can crystallize the water.
I seen your last shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like jumping out of the water. That was pretty dope.
Yeah, so it's like...
Can you say book a photo shoot after the show?
Right. 4 seconds is a long exposure.
Okay.
Anything under 1 second is like considered a long exposure.
Okay.
Right? And then fast or high speed shutter, like crystallizing things, you start at like 2200. Okay. Like 2200 of a second.
All right.
So awesome. So things like that. So like I said, you want to tell a story when you take photos, right, rather than just
take photos.
Yeah, just take photos. And
I do a lot of photo shoots, and I teach modeling etiquette, and I work with a lot of models and a lot of photographers, and I'm not gonna say nobody's name because I respect your business, but I have been in photo shoots, and it was just like this one frame, and they didn't capture like the room or the essence of it. Was like just more you could have like did with the picture.
Yeah, well, I mean, but that's the thing. You have some people who are good photographers, but they're not editors. That's a whole other thing.
It's a whole other animal.
Same thing with video. You have people who can shoot video and some people who can't edit video. That's the thing. Like, so people like want to say like, oh, well, you're the jack of all. No, I'm not a jack. What I am is a creative, and I take what I do very seriously. This is art to me, but it's also like a business. Like I started both of my businesses at the same time. When I met with Van Taylor in 2006, I also got my BMI music publisher's license. So, I wrote for 2 Najee records. Najee's African-American saxophonist, one of the highest sales. Okay. He went gold before Kenny G. He was after Grover Washington, and he's a great friend of mine, like family. I've known him since 2000, and I had an opportunity for him to play on my record first, and I sent him this track in 2006. And he said, hey man, he says, that track sounds good, but you're not playing on it, My boy, the guy who did my single, he produced this track, and I wrote to it, but I didn't put the melody on it. He says, hey man, he says, if you want to sell the track, get your publisher's license. So who did I meet up with? Van Taylor again. And Van Taylor met me at Tim Hortons, and we went through publishing and what it means to be a music publisher. And so I did a project at my home studio for autism, a holiday concert, 2-song thing. And one was called Let's Celebrate Christ. And he basically paid for my publisher's license, which is $125 for the life of me being a publisher. He taught me to go downtown to get my DBA. Go to which is closed. Sanders Legal Publishing is closed now, but that was a spot I went to get my paperwork.
Okay.
You know, so I had set up my DBA back in 2006, and then also it's so much. It's so much.
Because we're gonna save those type of questions for a little bit later. But I really appreciate you, and I appreciate you being here with me. And like, it's just so powerful. Like, what's the mission behind Will Holton?
Well, you know what? The funny thing, the answer to that came to me about a month ago, is that my purpose is to create for people, whether it be good vibes with music, with my program called The Sesh that I do every Saturday on Facebook, which has been going on throughout this whole COVID-19, which is a full band concert with you know, the requirements for social distancing.
Okay.
And then, I mean, the sesh is one thing, but like I said, God gave me the ability to create for people. So I don't have kids, so and that's cool, because now my purpose has been defined a month ago. It's like, you know what? You may not have children, but I am being able to create moments and pieces for people and their business to be able to go to the next level, or for them to tell their story. That's my motto.
Oh,
you know,
that's
share,
so awesome.
you know, share your story. You know, it's your story. You tell it the way it needs to be told. And when you come to me, people, they say, I said it in one of my posts. I said, people say, it's a workout when I shoot with you, man. It's a workout. You got me jumping out of this, jumping out of that.
Oh.
I said, you know what? You can keep the balloons at home for your birthday shoot, because we're not doing balloons.
Right.
I'm going to have you running or jumping or something. You're gonna have some life inside your
and
body.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Right. So, you know, that's basically that. And so the mission is to go by my core values from my business, which is dual fold for media and for music. And I'll give you 3 of my 6 core values. My core values are time management.
Yes.
Okay. Research and development. And then having less emotional attachment to my work, because I strive for perfection, but it's never attained.
Right. And my biggest critic, so I understand.
And you'll beat yourself to the point that you won't have the money you made off the job won't equate to the time put in. And my mom got me out of that, you know. And so, you know, and the reason why I am as great as I am is because I come from great parents. My mom and my dad are awesome.
That's totally awesome.
And they're overcomers themselves, being an interracial marriage since 1977.
Wow.
So
I know it's probably hard for you in this time.
Yeah,
but that's okay, because God loves us all. He created us all equal.
Absolutely.
When people get that through their heads, life will be much better. But that's okay. We're going to keep this good energy working right now. Now, touching on today's topic, about how do you feel about people having emotional trauma and taking music therapy to repair their emotional trauma?
It's funny that you say that, because every time I do an interview, I'm telling you I'm consistent with this. I consider myself a doctor because my concerts, for example, Love Cadenza, Soulful Christmas, Christmas to Remember, Soulful Spring, Sax in the City, Generations, Queens United by Soul, all these different things. When somebody comes to a concert, I can guarantee you, out of the 400, we normally sell out, so if we don't sell out, it'd be like 300. So between 300 and 400 people, break that room down and see how many couples there are. Break that room down and see how many people may have had an argument when they were walking from the car to the venue, or when they left the house, they had an argument in the car. But when they leave the show, they're happy.
Oh, wow.
That is everything.
Yes.
That is everything. That's the transformation. In music, the timbre of the cymbals, the timbre of the sax, the timbre of the vocal, the rhythm of the drum, the big sound of the bass, you know, that guitar player who's screaming on that guitar, it goes through the ears, through the body. It affects the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the unconscious mind. And that's where healing, even if it was for that night, and that night carried them over to the following weekend saying, you know what, last weekend we were at that concert, man, that Carlton Wilcox, that Christina Frazier, that, you know, that Cal Palmer, you know, that band was cooking. You know, Will, he was getting it in, you know, and they're happy. They go back to that moment where they walked ahead of one another or behind one another to the concert room. Now when they're walking out the concert together, they're arm in arm.
Right.
He's got his arm around his lady, making sure that she's safe. Yeah, baby, we had a great time, didn't we? You know, that, so to me...
It's something like the Motivational Mindset Show. You reset their mindset,
absolutely.
but instead you reset their emotions.
Absolutely.
And that's beautiful.
That to me means more than anything.
Oh, baby, you're going to be listening, baby. Oh, God, that is so beautiful.
You know, I always say that, you know, it's like being a doctor. And that's the truth.
Well, it's been an hour. That is so crazy. We're winding down. So before, you know, I finish up with you, I wanted to know if there was one thing that you can do. Well, two things I want to know. The first thing is, if it was one thing that you can do over, just one, what would that one thing be?
I think it would be in my female relationship. I think I missed out on a couple marriages.
You ain't miss out on that.
No, I'm telling you, because see what happens. This what happens is that I'm a workaholic, and if I feel like, you know, at those earlier points in my life, maybe I felt like the order was work, family, or really, music,
right,
family, job, woman. So that's the order, because it's always good to have somebody to go with you for as you rise.
Yes.
You know, because what they're gonna understand is that night where you maybe missed out on some money, or you got disrespected by one of your bandmates, and they see how you recover and they see how you get better.
Yeah.
Rather than just hold on to that one moment when you were kind of like, you know. But I never I never really gave that opportunity. So that's kind of that's the only thing, because I'm telling you, I tell anybody that is close with me, I can give you advice about your career, your branding, your marketing. I can't give you advice about a marriage. I can't give you advice about kids, even though I'm an uncle daddy.
Right.
I got two nephews that
but
I
it ain't
basically
over
help
for
raise.
you. You only 40.
You gotta understand.
Okay.
The motivational mindset. Motivation at this particular point, having a child would basically detour the whole plan.
Okay.
So that's why I'm like, that's the only thing. That's really the only thing. Like, I mean, other than that, I've enjoyed the ride. And a lot of times, that's my quote. My quote is, there are two types of people in this world. Those who are chasing success and those who are living their dreams. I'm living my dreams.
Right.
I never dreamed to be a husband or a father. Never dreamed that. God didn't put those when I was sleeping. He never put them dreams in my head.
Okay.
He put me on stage with George Duke, Stevie Wonder, in my dreams. Meeting all the people, and I've met so many people that I've had dreams of meeting. I've met them people. So, you know, like I said, that's the only thing. Maybe along the road I missed something, but it's okay, because I always say it's purpose by design, and I'm not trying to be cliche or anything, but that's the truth. So
that's what I'm saying. So, you know, so don't count it out, because you never know what God got cooking for you. You know, He probably just wanted to set your life out, so when you get your wife, you'll be like real well-rounded, you know, King? Yeah. So don't count it out. No. So before we get out of here, King, tell them what's next for you and tell them how they can find you.
My name is Will Holton. You can check me out on The Sesh Saturdays on Facebook at 8 p.m. The Sesh, TheSesh. Subscribe to The Sesh. It features bassist Calvin Palmer, vocalist and keyboardist Brandon Sherman Josie, as well as drummer Tony Payne. It's about positive vibrations, great music, and conversation. It's The Sesh.
The Sesh. And we'll be right back after this commercial with the Motivational Mindset Show.
I can't believe it. Thank you.
Yes. We are back from our break. Yes, we had a long, great hour show. My special guest, Will Holton, came in and tore it up. Please be looking out for Tuesday's show from 11 to 12 on channel 1301, 1302 Spectrum channel, and your local channels, channel 21 and 19. So please stay tuned to the Motivational Mindset Show. I'm your girl, Truletta. Before I get out of here, I have to read this to you for music therapy, activities, and exercises for us adults. Because sometimes we lose ourselves, especially when you are a parent, when you're in your career, when you're going through something, any type of traumatic situation. It could be losing a loved one, fighting through the COVID. When you get to that point in your life, you need to think about positive thoughts. That's the first thing you think about. Pray, meditate, positive thoughts. Once you're done with your positive thoughts, do an improv. Like do lip singing with your family. Write yourself a song. Sing along to a song. That's one of the therapeutic exercises you can do. Stress reduction techniques. I don't sing, but y'all hear me sing Truletta all the time. I do that to make myself feel good, baby. I told you, I'm not a singer. I can rap, I can write poetry, I can motivate you. I'm not a singer. I do that for my own personal, cognitive, positive energy. So I keep myself happy. The number one key to life is the pursuit of happiness in yourself. So in order for you to become the person that you are, you have to start with the person that's within. And remember, refuel your spirit daily to recycle out negative energy. I am your girl, Truletta. I will be back next Tuesday. Be looking out for my documentary, Brown Skin in the United States. Will be airing soon. Be looking out for a few great shows by some individuals that I'm working with. I can't name yet. I'd like to thank my boy, Sean Prewitt. Did I butcher it? I did it. Look at that, y'all. We learn something new every day. So we gotta keep focused, stay focused. If you do stumble and come to a stumbling block in your life, no, that's not failure. It's a lesson, baby. It's a stopping post, baby. So you keep pushing forward. Again, I am your girl, Truletta. This has been a Motivational Mindset Show. I'll see you next week.
I welcome you, friends. It's time for great music, conversation, and positive vibes. This is The Sesh with Tony Payne Jr., Brandon Sherman Josie, Cal Palmer, and yours truly, Will Holton. This is The Sesh, right here on Facebook.
For that one-of-a-kind look, there's only one place to shop. 44 Fashion. From jeans to jackets and more. Discover great service and one-of-a-kind clothing direct from California and New York City at up to 50% off. 44 Fashion. Main Street, Buffalo.